Welcome to Path Application, the podcast, your monthly invitation to join us as we talk all things writing. I'm Finn,
I'm Andie.
and today we're talking about our writing failures. The things that didn't quite make it, the reasons behind it, how do we feel when we feel like there's nothing more you can add to it and you feel like you might have to abandon this idea for now, and all the things that go along with that. Andie, I'm going to go to you first to start things off. What would you consider as a writing failure?
The fact that I've not actually written for quite some time.
Yeah, it's a pretty common one.
Yeah, that's a big one. Falling at that hurdle. Um, I mean, it's been difficult because I've not had the brain space, I've not had the energy, I've not had the capacity to write, and yet building up inside me right now is this deep frustration that I'm not writing, and it's stressing me out. Um, so I'd say that's one of my biggest failures.
It feels kind of like when I have that feeling of like I need to write something, but for whatever reason I can't at the moment. It feels like you're a toddler and you've been taken away from your toys, and like I want to play,
Yeah.
but I can't play because of X Y Z. So like I'm just like, that bundle of frustration. Just like I need to get words on the page, but I can't. Kind of thing.
What's your writing failures, do you think? Biggest
Um,
one?
it's the motivation to keep going. Sometimes my biggest writing failure is not believing in the work enough to bring it to the end, kind of thing. Having that kind of like temptation to be like, no, screw it, I'm not going to finish it. We'll do something else, or starting multiple projects at the same time and never finishing them. I think that's my biggest
Oh.
writing failure.
I think you've mentioned on like a previous podcast that you have like a graveyard, don't you?
I do have a graveyard of failed scripts. Yes, I do. Some of them I've mentioned on the podcast before. I'll try to avoid speaking about them again. But yeah, I had a whole folder at one point where it was basically script ideas originating from university and like in between university and getting my first job, where I was writing random scripts. It wouldn't go anywhere, but they were just there for my own kind of like satisfaction that, oh, yes, I completed a script. Um, the biggest writing failure I have is the very first script I ever completed. Half jumped. It was my sitcom script. It's the very first sitcom script I ever completed. Um, I would consider it a writing failure though, for many reasons. I actually wrote I wrote 2 episodes. I'd actually storyboarded 4 episodes of that series, and I wrote it during the period of time between university finishing and getting my first job. So it self-inserted all of my friends at the time, and it was a plot where the easiest way to describe it was In-Betweeners meets Spy Kids. It was kind of like a bit actiony, a bit comedy, and set in like rural England, like where I was. Basically, it was set there. And it failed for many reasons. One of the reasons, one was a practical reason. So I wrote the script, and I was also trying to film it at the same time. So this was fresh out of doing a media degree. I'd done some video production work and done some script writing work as part of university, and I wanted to kind of carry that on, carry that torch going. So I got myself a crappy flip camera. Does anyone remember the flip cameras with a little USB that was in the side that can just connect directly into the PC? I had one of those.
Oh, I only had the Motorola Razor.
It's kind
That
of
was a
similar
flip
to that
camera.
one. It
Is
looked
it?
like basically like how do you describe it? Like an iPhone, but you stuck a USB on the side of it, and it flipped up into the side. But it was a video camera, and it just did video cameras stuff. So we
No, I
did.
wasn't very technically savvy.
You see, I'm not either, to be honest. But yeah, so I had a flip camera, and we were just recording scenes that I'd written with my friends at the time, with all my friends playing a different character. One of the practical reasons why it failed was I was trying to do too much without it being like fully fledged, that sort of thing. I was working off the first draft, trying to record it myself. Had no idea what I was doing. I've never recorded anything at that point before. I didn't even know what YouTube was at that point, so like I had no idea where I was going with it. I just wanted to record it and see what it looked like with my friends acting it out. 2 of those friends broke up, so practically I couldn't record it anymore with 2 of the characters that I'd already written. And me being in my early 20s, I didn't want to rewrite everything. I thought my words were gospel. I didn't want to change
I've
anything,
just
so
checked. they didn't break up because of your script, right? I mean, it wasn't
No,
that bad.
other factors happened. But yeah, two of the people that were playing characters in the script broke up, so I couldn't practically film that script with them both being in the same like shoot but same room kind of thing.
Mm.
And it also kind of soured my motivation to carry it on further because I'm like, well, what's the point now? I can't film it. Kind of thing. I was kind of like blurring of the lines between writer and director. That's where it kind of failed. And also, as I was reading it back, as I got older and stuff like that, reading it back, it was like, this is just derivative of other TV shows that are around at the time, like The In Between and Spy Kids, that sort of thing. It was kind of like derivative. And I didn't want it to just be kind of like, oh, you're just trying to do that. You're not trying to do its own separate thing. Um, yeah, and just like the confidence in it kind of failed on that. I kind of lost my confidence in writing that. So I moved on to other things. But yeah, that's my first and biggest writing failure, I think, is the whole Half Jocked series that I was working on when I was like early 20s. That was a lot. How about you, Andy?
I can see why that failed. Probably was just the wrong time for you.
Yes, yes.
Would you say that actually it's a good thing that it failed?
Yes, because it's kind of like every failure is a learning lesson. I do believe that. So I kind of learned from that, like in the future, like don't wear too many hats um, if you can't effortlessly switch between the two of them. Just be comfortable in your own hat to start off with. Get that done. Get it polished on the page before you can think about, oh, I might actually want to record this myself and self-publish it and that sort of thing. Don't wear too many hats before it's done. I'm putting too much into it. And also, like, when I was writing it, that sort of thing, it kind of like, it was nice because it's the first thing I ever completed, but it's also kind of like a stepping stone of like, okay, so in future, I'd avoid this, I'll avoid scenes with that thing in it, or that sort of thing, or I'm not confident with this, so I'll probably avoid that next time. That sort of thing. It was kind of like a stepping stone into like writing further on. That sort of thing. I'd never like use it as a calling card script or anything like that. It's not good by today's standards at all. But yeah, how about you?
I think with me, I've got quite a lot of failures in my vault, and I think they've all failed for a lot of different reasons. Biggest reasons probably like that self confidence of I just can't get it to the finish line because I lose it
Hmm.
at some point. I put it down, something happens, I get very stuck in my own head, and then I can't progress the story in the way that I want to. Um, I think one of the big ones that I'm thinking of is I've got a completed manuscript that had gone through an edit with an editor, and it's just sat in my vaults right now. And I just haven't got the ability to push it to the finishing line. Even though I believe in the story, I think it's a great story, and the editing notes were fantastic. He's put me in a really good direction to do a rewrite. I've just absolutely not done a rewrite. I'm just sitting at it, looking at the notes, looking at this thick folder that I've got printed off. It's a proper manuscript. It's not a script. It's a manuscript.
Hmm.
Um, and I just can't push it over the finish line. And I don't know where the roadblock is on that. And I see that as quite a sad failure for me because, like I said, I do believe in it. I do like the story. There's good feedback. There's a good direction to take it. I just can't push it over that finish line.
It's like when you immerse yourself into a certain world, and you're like, oh, I'm like really enjoying writing this and how it affects the characters and that sort of thing. And for me, it's like I'll go off on a tangent in the script, and I'm like, oh, I'll just explore this bit for like a page or two, and then it becomes the entire script, and I've lost where I was originally, and it's because it's so far away from where it was originally, I can't then pull it back again, and to what my original vision was. So I feel for you on that.
I mean, you do overwrite quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah,
Do you find that you overwrite to the extent that sometimes you lose the story entirely?
it has happened on many occasions. Yeah, that I've just written and written and written, having no structure to it, and I've literally lost myself in the tangent that I've made for myself, kind of thing. I think it's kind of like that because of obviously going back to my first foray into script writing. It's kind of like need for like kind of like wearing all the hats, having like ultimate control over it, being too precious with the script. And so I'll write every possible thing that's happening in this script to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Because I'm bogged down with making sure that everything in the script is in script, it's not progressing. I'm just kind of staying in the same place and doing that over and over again and making myself stuck, basically.
Which doesn't feel good, does it?
No, it doesn't. Um, it feels a bit like Groundhog Day, but without the heartwarming centre.
And Bill Murray. There's no Bill Murray in your life, is there?
Not unless there's some type of shocking ancestry revelation. No.
I think that inability to progress the story or to get it over the finish line, it happens to quite a lot of famous people, and we just don't really hear about it quite a lot.
Mm.
Like Stephen King, for example, he threw Carrie in the bin. Like the
And was it
manuscript
his
of
wife
Carrie,
that actually made him pick it back out again?
yeah, she picked it out. I think it was the laundry basket actually, or something like that. And
Mm.
she picked it up and read it, and she believed in him, and it was that got it over the finish line.
Mm. I think part of our writing journey as well from starting this podcast is to do with that. It's like having the motivation to push it over the finish line or over to the next scene, that sort of thing. It's just how we bounce off each other, and having somebody that is in the same field or in the same kind of like hobby as us, who kind of can understand where we are and what kind of like situation we're under at the moment, and know the right thing to kind of like keep us going.
Yeah. I think one of the downsides to writing is it's very isolation. You're in isolation quite a lot. It's a very self-centered kind of activity. And when it comes to experiencing those failures, because it's just you on your own, you're in your writing bubble. So to fail in private and fail on your own, it's harder to pull yourself out of that pit and push it to the point where you are succeeding with it. Whereas, like, if you've got friends who are writers, or that group that you can go along to all the time, there's that accountability and there's that ability to push it just that little bit further, more than what you on your own could do. And that's why I'm always like a big champion for writing workshops, writing groups, having that community around you, because then you're not on your own. You're not failing in private. You're not failing and just holding it all yourself. Spreads the load.
It's that crushing loneliness of you writing something, and whether it's like amazing, the best thing you've ever written in the entire world, or a piece of shit, because you've not, no one knows about it apart from you. You that kind of thing of like, well, no one's going to see it. It's not going to go anywhere. What's the point? Kind of thing. Having that kind of like very closed down view about your own work. Whereas if you are opening yourself up to similar communities or people that write the same things or are just writing in general to kind of like motivate you to do more, that kind of mitigates that a bit better. You're not always feeling
Yeah,
so doubtful about your own work.
and that's where, like, even just talking about our experiences with Script East Midlands,
Mm.
and that has been really beneficial for my writing. I don't know about you,
Yes,
but
definitely.
I feel a lot happier even just hearing other people's work, and listening to their own stories of where they fell down with it, or where they want to push it even further, and they want like everyone's help with it. It's helping to jolly me along a bit more.
I agree with that. Yes, definitely like listening to other people's work and stuff like that, and feeling like not so lonely, not feeling so isolated, and be like, okay, people are going through the similar things as I am, or they're making the same mistakes or completely different mistakes that I wouldn't make or would make. It's nice to kind of see that highlighted and be like, actually, no, we're all in this together, kind of thing. Which sounds a bit kind of like therapy 101, but like, it feels like you're not like an island, like you've got other ways of kind of like networking in a way. It doesn't sound like you are in a suit on a convention centre somewhere, like giving business cards to like a million people who aren't going to read them. It feels like it comes across in a bit more of a natural way.
On the flip side of all this, though, the whole being a writer and it being a very lonely kind of experience is there's some ideas that you guys are never, ever, 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 ever going to hear about unless you hack into my phone and look at my notes app and somehow decode my 3 a.m. scribbles. I can hide the really embarrassing ones from you guys, the ones that, even I look at and go, why did I have that idea?
hmm I just to tack onto that as well. Like I was on the bus to work recently, and I just as I was commuting, as my brain was kind of switched off, switched on, music on, that sort of thing, came up with a amazing motive for one of the characters in my police procedural to have to bump off one of the other characters. Because at the time, I didn't really have a motive behind it, other than they were bad friends, which is kind of a bit of a weak motive. But as I was on the bus, I kind of like going, oh, I'm going to this particular place and they deal with this sort of stuff, and like what would happen if you couldn't get that sort of thing, and would it be enough to kind of like warrant murdering somebody over it, kind of thing. And I was like, as I was thinking about it more, I'm trying not to tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it, but I was like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, this is like a great motive for the killer to have. So I've just given it to my killer now. I've left a little note on my phone, like, when you get to this point, this is the motive. Or like when you're writing it again, this is what you need to feed in to why she's decided to do this. Kind of thing. Oh, I spoiled it now. It's a woman.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. But yeah,
So in your like graveyard of ideas, have you ever gone back into them, or even like the cut scenes, cut lines, the
hmm
ideas themselves, and then brought them back and resurrected them in a different idea? Like, have you interwoven it with a new idea and it's worked, or you've tried it and it's like forcing the wrong jigsaw kind of piece?
So initially, when I'm doing these like graveyard scenes, graveyard ideas, I take them out because I'm like, oh, I might come back to that later and improve upon it, and like maybe for a future episode, future script, that sort of thing, it'll book a bit better. I have never gone back to it. I have just left it there to wallow basically in its ineptness, and then I might have like Frankenstein certain bits from it that I did like and kept them in a future draft or in another script, that sort of thing where it warrants it. But largely, unless it's like a note in my phone that says like this character needs to do this, and I'm going to go back to that character, I kind of get lost in a drawer somewhere on my phone somewhere and never seen again. Have you Frankenstein ideas together, made a script graveyard or anything like that?
I don't really have a script graveyard or an idea graveyard as such. Usually because when I'm writing, if I've deleted it off the page, that's it, it's gone. Um, My notes app is the same as yours, probably, where there's quite a few old ideas that just haven't really fit or gone anywhere. I actually use like separate backgrounds for each of my notes, which are like ideas that I want to work on, ideas that I might work on, ideas that probably aren't ever going to work because it's just two words that I wrote at 3 a.m. and I don't know why because I was busting for a wee at the time. Um, and there is only one example that I can actually think of where I had a nightmare like 10, no, 15 years ago nearly. Holy shit. Like
God, I don't
15
like
years
being
ago.
old.
I know. What's even more sad is I actually haven't done anything with it. So I've had it for 15 years, done nothing.
Okay.
Um, but it's this idea, it's this nightmare that I've had, and it was very visceral. And I wrote a little story around it, and it's all based on this one scene that, for me, was a really fantastically heartbreaking, very very human scene. And I really do want to Frankenstein it into a story where it makes sense. And I haven't yet found the story where it does make sense.
hmm
But I love it as a scene, and I can't make it into its own short story because it's not got a story around it. It's literally just a snapshot of a person in one particular situation. And I really do want to put it in somewhere. It's just never the right ideas just never come up. And like I said, 15 years later, where the fuck is it? How am I ever gonna find it?
It's like when will my scripts come back home from the war?
Yeah. And annoyingly, when I think about it, like all this time that I've been writing, and I've just mentioned 15 years, I've had this like little seed of an idea somewhere. I haven't produced something, got it out there into the market. It's all just been half baked or three-quarter way baked, or there's never been anything that I've actually finished and gone, I am really, 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 really proud of that.
hmm
Apart from that one script that we read at Script East Midlands of mine that I just wrote on a whim one day, and I just took it through three different drafts essentially. I liked it. I sent it out. I sent it out to ITV. I sent it out to BBC. I sent it out to wherever. Um, I got absolutely nothing back from it, and it's just kind of like gathered dust now. The one thing that I did finish, and there's this really, really, really huge part of me inside that's struggling with the idea that am I actually a writer at this point because I've not finished the things I want to finish. I've not progressed the ones I want to progress. Am I a fraud right now? Am I fraudulently representing myself as a writer?
I think I've also been in that same position as you, particularly over recent events as well that's happened to me, where I felt like a fraud. I felt like a imposter syndrome. I'm like, am I actually still a writer? Like I haven't written in a week. Like should I be continuously writing? Why am I not continuously writing? Why have I even started? Kind of thing. Like, should I give up now? Kind of thing. I think that's quite a common feeling among writers. Is like they feel like even like the big successful writers, I'm assuming as well. That they're only as good as their last big hit, kind of thing. Like you
Hmm.
have to keep constantly churning things out. And I just got to kind of keep the faith that you're not you there's going to be something else on the horizon that you're going to end up writing. It's going to be even better than that idea you've done, or it's going to complement that idea you've done, and you can then use that script that you gave the script East Midlands as like a calling card script, even if it's something that's not going to end up being made in the end. It'll be something to like, oh, this is an example of my work now, or my example of my work from a couple of years ago, but it's something I'm still passionate about, kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of self-inflicted pressure, I think, with that.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. There's so much pressure you self inflicting on yourself. Like it has to be perfect as soon as it hits the page. It cannot be changed in any way. It's like that's not a great way of looking at it, but it is the thoughts we have when we're writing things like this.
Yeah. And especially when there's not a tangible product at the end of it for me at the moment. There's no book. There's no, there's no book out there with my name on it on the shelves at WH Smith or Waterstones. There's no
Hmm.
TV show out there with like a little created by or written by. There's absolutely nothing tangible for me to turn around and say I'm a writer. I'm a successful writer. I'm a scribbler, And I think that kind of feeds into the whole cycle of failures as well. It can go to why bother? Why start this project? Why bother with this project? I haven't finished the other projects that I was passionate about. Why bother with these projects? And then you just end up stacking all of these unfinished products.
But then again, you
I
also
start.
hear like success stories of like, okay, not technically writing per se, songwriting, but like the Beatles were um, rejected by a couple of recording companies before they finally found the recording company they had, and obviously now they are synonymous with everybody around the world. Basically, knows about them. Um, I won't mention the one that I'm thinking of because we don't want to mention her on the channel, but she had a book that went to multiple publishers before it ended up getting published and becoming big. Um, so it can happen. Like it's not going to be perfect as soon as it finishes. As soon as it hits the page and you're finished with it, it's not going to be perfect. Even when you think it's a final draft, it's still going to need some collaboration. But it needs to be to a certain standard where somebody coming on to it with fresh eyes is going to see it and be like, actually, no, I want to kind of carry this on. I want to kind of pick this up and run with it, basically.
My problem is I don't have anything finished to show people.
Hmm. I'm in the same boat. Whereas, like,
And
I've got two scripts I can think off the top of my head that are finished, but they're from 10 years ago. They don't. They're not
mm,
represent. They're not representative of what I'm writing at the moment. So I wouldn't use those as a calling card script because that's not me anymore. That's me from 10 years ago.
and your skill set will have increased in those 10 years because even though going back to that idea that we're not published, we're not credited, we're in the background kind of, you're still writing, you're still working on your knowledge base, you're still bringing more skills into it, so your skill level will be a lot bigger than 10 years ago.
Absolutely. Like, but 10 years ago, I wasn't even in a relationship. I've never been in a relationship before. So I was writing about people being in relationships that were breaking down, and I had no experience of that. So like the only thing I could draw upon was my friends at the time. So whereas now I've got a lot more experience in that. I have been in a relationship, and I have seen multiple other relationships and how they've become successful and have become not so successful, that sort of thing. Whereas I feel like I'm in a better position now to write that than I was 10 years ago.
Speaking of friends, our friend has actually managed to be successful with writing, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. You may recognize the name as she was in the last episode, but our friend Gina, she has self-published her first book on Amazon, and I have a pre-release copy here that I want to show off to everyone. Um, and
Yeah,
Andy will tell you where you can find this book. But it's called "What the
absolutely.
Storm Kept" by Gina Cox. It'll look a little bit similar. It won't look like this. The cover. It will look better than this. This is just a pre-release copy. But she released it. Was it this week? Last week?
This week, yeah,
And
on
where can they
Amazon.
find this, Andy?
So she self-published it on Amazon. So I'll drop a link in the comments so that you can purchase a copy. I think it is on paperback, hardback, and ebook available now. Uh, we might get her on to talk about like her experiences with KDP, and how she found that as like a self-publishing kind of conversation. But we were actually really fortunate. After the conversation we had where we were doing the Q&A, Gina suddenly got her writing hat on and she absolutely ploughed this story out, and we were getting the updates quite frequently, weren't we?
I think she said I spoke to her yesterday. Actually, I saw. I went to this. I went to the theatre to watch Matilda the musical live, and she was there. And she said she bashed this out basically in 2 months, and she was like so bloody proud of herself for bashing it out in 2 months, and for it to make sense, and for it to be like, yes, you know what, I'm putting this out for everyone to see. Do you want me to read the blurb of it for you?
Go for it.
Okay, I'll read the blurb for you. And it's a bit of a disjointed promo, but yes, this is a book from Gina, who was in the previous podcast. We want to give her all our love and admiration, so please do head over to Amazon and give it a read, give it all your money, and and give her all the love. So the blurb of this book, so it's called What the Storm Kept. It's Erin is in a dangerous relationship with a callous man who shrouds her entire life in the shadows of violence and fear. When she receives news of her mother's passing, she must return home, back to her estranged family, who she hasn't seen for 4 years. But a fierce snowstorm finds her stranded at the airport, where she meets a fascinating and kind stranger who makes her feel more seen than she's ever felt in years. She must decide between letting herself fall into this gentle stranger's world or returning from the tumultuous engagement that has torn her away from everyone she loves. Will her family show her forgiveness for abandoning them when they needed her the most? Is this curious man as perfect as he seems? We will find out in What the Storm Kept. Over here.
There we go. So it can be done.
It can be done. Like you can, if you don't have to wait for like some like big industry bozo to take you on, self-publish it yourself.
But it goes to show, like, Gina had this idea. She totally ran with it. She spent a lot of time working on it, and now it's out there.
Yeah, like she literally was like, I'm so proud of her. Like she's got that kind of tenacity to like, you know what? I'm going to get this out there. I'm going to get people to see it. I don't care about like having to wait months and months for it to go out on a TV show. I'm going to write it myself. I'm going to get it out there and get people to see it.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you, Gina.
Which is the opposite of writing failures. Other writing failures that can and have happened to me, I don't know if you've experienced this, Finn, is characters not doing what the fuck they're told.
Characters are toddlers and we need to look after them. Sometimes I don't want to be looked after.
Exactly. It sounds really, really, really like baffling, the idea that this imaginary character that lives in my head isn't doing what it's told on paper, because I'm the one controlling it. It's like playing The Sims on no free reign mode.
Yeah.
They should only be doing the things I queue up, and yet for some reason, as I'm writing, the characters just go off on their own like little jolly.
They should be going for work, but you know what? They decided to go for a bath today when the car is waiting for them outside to go to work. They're going to be fired if they don't go.
Like the biggest example I can think of is Hale and Todd. The story I told you about in the last podcast, the one that I'm working on in the background, is going to be my my big one. It's kind of like a sci-fi kind of
Your magnum
story.
opus.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but in my head I could pronounce the word, and in my mouth.
Your mouth was like, sorry, I'm talking to you at the moment.
Yeah. So I remember distinctly writing this scene where, for me, the idea was he was going to have this conflict with the law enforcement, and I'm going to try and keep it vague as possible because I do really want to get this story out there, and I do want people not to steal it, and I don't want it to like end up in someone else's hands. I want it in my hands.
That's not us being precious. It's kind of like, because it's not done yet, we don't want it to be like, oh, I'm going to tell you everything about it, and then someone else goes and grabs it.
I'm being precious. This is my story. It's going to be mine.
Okay, that's it.
But he has this experience with a law enforcement officer, and it sends him on this certain track, which progresses the story. In my head, that's how it worked. And as I was writing it, it was kind of like a free flow, because we all know I'm a bit of a pantser. I don't have much of a plan. That was the only plan I had. This chapter, connection with the law enforcement, and it sends him off this track. Absolutely, the fuck not did not happen. Didn't have the experience with the law enforcement. I don't know how, like, he just went off on his own little world. I had him going downstream rescuing a kitten, which had absolutely nothing to do with the plot, and yet it just felt right to write that about the story, the character at that time. He jumps in the stream, he rescues this tiny kitten, he finds where this kitten's from, and it in hindsight, I think it just shows more of the world around him,
Yeah.
which is cool. But at the same time, I was kind of like really annoyed because I was like, no, this chapter needs to be with the law enforcement and I've got to get this plot point going. And it just didn't happen. And
It's like, no,
I don't know where this
behave.
came
Do
from.
not move from this spot. I have got a plan for you. You are not allowed to move from that plan. And he's just going like, oh, pretty colours.
Yeah. I genuinely don't know where this came from because I was kind of like just free writing it and it just, yeah.
What happens when you like, I don't like having too like strict a structure, but when I don't have any structure, this is what happens. It literally like characters go off and do their own thing. And I've lost the plot literally lost the plot, trying to write back to where I was, kind of thing.
Yeah. Has that ever happened with you, with your characters? Because I know you're quite structured and you have like very detailed plans. So is there really much scope for your characters going off piste?
So when I'm at the moment, I'll go by the script that's not been written yet, but it's basically been storyboarded, which is my I'm calling it my Doctor Who spec script, but I've had an idea for as if I was writing for Doctor Who, which I'm not going to be, but you never know. Use it as a spec script kind of thing. I have written it's an Excel spreadsheet. It's not a script at the moment. It's an Excel spreadsheet where I've gone through every possible beat in this story. And I've planned out the entire thing. I've even gone through and done a little bit of research about some of the back characters, some of the side characters, the time period, that sort of thing. Can I put that words into a script form and actually start the damn thing? No. And the reason behind that is, one, I have this fear, right? Because it's based on an actual property, not a property I own. I don't want to fuck it up. Even though it's not going to go into a show, it's not going to be made, it's not going to be produced, it's not being asked for. I'm doing this off the back of my own hat. Off my own back, even. Back of my own hat. That's why if I can't write it, I'm writing it in fabric. Because it's not something that I've come up off the back of my own off the back of I did it again off my own back.
Why?
Hello, bloopers. It's got more of a pressure on me. Where it's like I have to kind of do it justice if I'm going to do a spec script about this intellectual property. So I can't put the words to the page at the moment. I'm trying to like basically storyboard it to fuck before I even start it, so I know exactly where I'm going. Because I know that if I start writing it without having that plan, I will have what happened to your character, and I will just have characters doing things they want to do, and not have any kind of like structure or any reins to kind of like keep them along the plot without making it like train tracks and people can see that the characters are plotting. I want to see. I want to keep the characters in the same environment, but not kind of having an excuse to be like, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to go over here for a bit and stay over here for a second. I'm like, I don't want that to happen. But yeah, I'm putting so much pressure on myself on a script that doesn't exist yet, but I want to make sure I do it justice before I finish it, basically, or even start it.
So you're kind of like holding yourself back right at the very first step.
It's kind of like I'm going, no, you don't want to write it. I was like, well, I do want to write it. It's like, no, but you don't want to make it, you'll fuck up. And I'm like, yes, but fucking it up is part of it because you're doing the draft. But I'm like so scared about making a mistake or doing a really shit job of it that I don't want to start.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Which kind of lends into this conversation, though. You kind of touched on it earlier of being, your skill set is at a different level at the moment. So I was reading about this thing just this morning, actually. It's Ira Glass and the taste talent gap, where you have a taste and, you've got this idea that you want to do, but your skills aren't quite matching the idea that you want. So there's this gap in between. And he calls it the taste talent gap.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued already.
Between what you know is good and what your current skill level is. So, and I found this absolutely fantastic quote, which is going quite viral apparently, and I've only just found out about it. That shows how much time I spend on the internet. I'm just going to read it to you now, and And it says, Ira Glass says, nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone had told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste, but there is a gap. For the first couple of years you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase, they quit. Most people I know who do interesting creative work went through years of this. We know our work doesn't have this special thing that we want it to have. We all know this. And if you're just starting out or you're still in this phase, you've got to know it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is a lot of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week you'll finish one story. It's only by going through a volume of work that you'll close that gap and your work will be as good as your ambitions. And I took longer to figure out how to do this than anyone I've ever met. It's going to take a while. It's normal to take a while. You've just got to fight your way through it.
That is a very comforting quote, and thank you for that. I really appreciate his words. Yeah, I completely agree with it. Completely agree with that. It's like thing of like we're still starting out effectively. We're still beginners at this, so we have this kind of like I don't want to say it's inflated because it's not inflated, but we have this kind of like idea of like we need to be at this certain level, but at the moment we're writing at this level, and we don't know how we can get up to that level without doing more work to kind of build yourself up to it. It's essentially what you say. But yeah, I definitely feel like I am writing here, but I want to be up here. And I don't know how I'm getting there yet.
Gotta do the volume.
Yeah.
I think that when I was reading it, I was really resonating with these words because I was like, my taste is quite up there. I do think that my taste is quite fantastic. Blow my own horn, but why not? But the skill is just not quite there. And part of that skill set is the motivation. Part of it is that ability to sit down and constantly write and have routine and do it and do it and do it. So maybe he's right in that if I set myself a deadline, like a weekly deadline, I set this amount of time aside to write every week, I might be able to bridge that gap and actually not end up being a frustrated writer like I am now.
I think it's a good idea. Like the way that the writer says, I'm assuming it's a he. Is it a he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to assume his pronouns. But yeah, so I had that image in my head, or when you were reading that quote up, like kind of metaphorical, but like every script you do is a stepping stone to close that gap, basically. So kind of like to get to from here to here, there needs to be like a staircase of scripts that will never see the light of day, basically, to get to that point. Is what I was trying to say. So like in my head, I had a metaphor of basically climbing stairs, but the stairs are made out of scripts. So we are still here at the moment. We're still at the beginning of our journey, and we are like wanting to be here. And it's like this is not going to happen yet. You need to kind of build yourself up to get there. The only way you can do that is through experience and through failure. And failure is a very big part of being successful, because people that are successful, like celebrities and I would say celebrities that aren't for reality TV, have got there because of all the failures they've had beforehand. Like influential people as well, same thing. Like they've probably had a million different failures in their life, but there's been that one thing that's been successful, and they're just soared from it. And they've had to learn from their mistakes. They've had to learn from their failures and improve, and change one thing about their scripts, change one thing about their vocation to get to where they want to be now. I think. Yeah, that does resonate with me a lot.
I wonder if we can perhaps reframe the notion of failure as in, it's a bunch of dead script, dead stories, dead ideas, and it's not a graveyard. It's actually just building those stepping stones to bridging that gap.
It's an archive. It's
And
a
for that,
library.
they're actually successes in their own way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So what I remembered is you were saying like you need to like set a schedule. You need to set like a set amount of times to get a story out there. And I realised that's something I don't have. Is that I need to get by this point by a certain day. Kind of like what you were saying way back in the beginning with Save the Cat. You need to have like a certain set of your scripts done by this point and that sort of thing. But rather than the script, it's more like the story itself. Like trying to get the story done by a certain point in time. Because at the moment, I'm writing when I should be doing other things. I'm writing when I should be going to bed, kind of thing. I'm not writing in a set slot of my time every week. Yeah, so I'm writing when I'm distracted. I'm not writing because I'm writing for the the process of writing at the moment. And that's probably why I'm feeling so kind of hollow inside when I'm writing it. Like I'm not doing it because I want. I'm not doing it because I've set time aside for it. I'm doing it in the scraps of time I have where I should be doing other things.
Yeah. So
Um,
you're not quite immersing in the world because you want to immerse in the world. You're immersing in the world because it's a distraction.
it's an escapism thing. It's not a voluntary immersion at the moment. That sounds weird. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi. Anyone want to voluntary immerse with me? Um, so I think what I need to do with my future writing, that sort of thing, is to set it on a schedule. And I don't mean
Yeah.
like every single day I have to write something because I know that I would get bored of that within a week. But like just set up like by this week I'd like to get this done. By this week I'd like to get this done, and set some time aside in my free time to actually do it, rather than trying to fit it in times where I'm distracted by other things or should be focusing on other things. Um, what about you?
I think quite similarly. I don't have a good schedule in that I make time to sit and write. I just do it when the mood strikes. And,
Mm,
like because of everything that's happened emotionally and, my day to day life, the mood ain't striking very often. So it's not happening. Whereas
mm.
if I actually say, between 8 and 9 at night, that's going to be my writing time and whatever I write, I'm happy with. Maybe I need to reframe that and start to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan for both of us. Just try and reframe parts of it. It doesn't have to be all of your free time, just part of your free time, just to dedicate it to writing and nothing else. Because I feel like at the moment, obviously in my life recently this year, we've had a couple of family deaths. We've had my beloved dog died last month as well. So I've not been in kind of like a writing mood recently for obvious reasons. But I think you don't want to beat yourself up too much about those sort of times because your body needs to focus on that. Your mind needs to focus on that in those times. It doesn't need to focus on your imaginary writing world at the time because your body's not ready for it. Um, but when you are ready for it, when the dust has settled effectively, that's the time when you need to kind of strike while the match is hot. That's the wrong phrasing. You know what I'm trying to say? Well, the iron is hot. Um, am I having a
We've got
stroke,
we've
Andy?
got yeah, we've got back of the hats and we've got hot matches today. Like, are you actually a writer? Or are you just an inventor of
I'm
like
actually
idioms?
a human being ran by Chat GPT.
Early stage chat GPT deserves this.
I think we need a bit more structure in terms of our actual writing lives, not so much the scripts themselves, but in our writing lives. Setting aside some time every week, just if it's just one time every week to just do writing,
Yeah.
um, whilst you've
And
got the
then we'll
mental
bridge that
capacity to do it.
gap and then we'll end up publishing like Gina does.
Oh my god, I'd love that. I'd love that. I'd love to polish it. It's like I'd love to publish something on Amazon. I'd love to have something done and published somewhere.
Mm.
Even if it's like a book or if it's a script somewhere. I would love that. I mean, that's like everybody's role at the moment is listening to this podcast, but like, oh, I'd love that so much.
Absolutely. It was just a fantastic little surprise when she popped up on the messages, just like, oh hi guys, it's out there on Amazon.
Well, she messaged us originally, just going like, "I've got the writing bug. Since this Q&A, I've got the writing bug, and like I've written these pages, and I'd like you to have a look at them." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll have a look at them," and stuff like that. And it's like she did like a really good job with the scenes that she voluntarily, like very graciously gave us to review and that sort of thing. And now it's a whole thing. So yeah, I'm very very proud of her.
Absolutely. Friend of the podcast got published. Woo!
Woo! Gina's listening back to this now and cringing. She's like, "Oh, just talk about yourself. Stop talking about me."
Well, we talk about us like every month, we've got to celebrate our friends as well.
Yeah. We can't be too egotistical every week.
Yeah, no, it's not all about me, as much as I'd like it to be.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to see my name in lights somewhere or like written by somewhere, sometimes we take some time out to kind of like appreciate our friends and appreciate other people in the writing community.
Yeah, and always celebrate everyone's achievements.
Yeah, Yeah, no one's achievement is like higher than anybody else's achievement. Like every achievement should be celebrated, and yeah,
Yeah.
if you manage to get something written today, we're proud of you.
Yeah, and even if you manage to do fuck all and just listen to the podcast to the end, we're proud of you.
If you took if you took a time out for a me time day, that's absolutely fine. You're doing amazing. You're a rock star. And that
And on
concludes
that
our
note,
Wellness Wednesday.
actually, I think that's quite a nice spot to wrap it up.
Okay, yeah, sure. I've enjoyed this one. I like going into it. I was kind of like thinking, like, is there any writing failures I can think of that I haven't previously talked about on the channel? But then, as we've been going through, I'm like, failures aren't failures. Failures are lessons to learn from. Um, so without making it sound a bit too kind of therapisty, every failure is something to learn from. Like, oh, that one didn't work because I was trying to. So half drop didn't work because I was trying to do too many things at once, and I was trying to get my friends to record something, and they broke up, and it made things awkward. So therefore, just stick with the writing, and then if it gets picked up, then you can worry about the directing afterwards. And then the pizza script failed because it wasn't the right quality that the BBC needed at the time, and that's fine. That's not the BBC's fault. That's not my fault. It just wasn't ready. And like for yourself, Andy, like you had a writing failure. I don't know why am I saying what your writing failure is. Like you can sum this up yourself.
My writing failures are not pushing things over the finish line when I could, or when I can. And I don't think actually that's big of a failure right now. I think it's more of a not the right time, not the right story. You're not in the right place to do it. But I'm quite motivated to do it now. I do want to push things over the finish line and get there.
I want to get a grip of my script now and just get it done. Just get that draft done, and I can work on the next one. Get it done. Once the first draft is done, then we've got something to work from. Because the first draft isn't done yet, I've got nowhere to go.
Look at it on paper.
Gotta get it down on paper. Got it out of my brain in paper. We'll
So
get
really,
there.
we're not failures. We're just procrastinators and learning.
We're procrastinators. We've got imposter syndrome. We're constantly worried that we're not doing good enough. But it's okay because we'll get there eventually.
Of course we will. We all will.
We will. We will. But yes. So thank you. Thank you for listening to us today. It's been a bit rambled, but yeah, it's an important topic to talk about.
There's not really a lot left to say except for, thank you for joining us in this conversation.
And we'll hope you'll join us on the path to publication.
I've always been Andie.
And I've always been Finn. And this has always been Gina's book. Please get it on Amazon now. Woo!